We, the Eco Builders Sustainable Strategy team, have thoroughly examined the firm's performance, operations, and have made a few recommendations to help strengthen its sustainable business practices. The company currently is greenwashing its clients while actually failing to implement its preachings. It operates a linear business model wherein it employs unsustainable materials to maximize its profits. We would like to recommend it using sustainable construction, wherein the firm produces its final goods using materials such as timber, bamboo, cork, or even renewable energy. With the impact of Ukraine-Russia war, the cost of construction materials currently have skyrocketed, and now is the right moment for them to look into affordable, sustainable and superior materials that would give them a first mover advantage in this market. Also, they have to consider the current extreme climatic changes that are happening, wherein it is critical to develop a new way of looking at things so that it is sustainable and also helps them tackle the climatic changes. Our analysis primarily focuses on waste reduction, which is associated with eco operations and eco friendly construction materials. It also looks into future ventures, considering perspectives that are other than profit maximization, such as social welfare and even giving back to the society. As a responsible business, the firm should consider delivering the proper resources to its customers while keeping the aspect environment in mind. We would like to advise the company, and with this advice, the company can drastically alter its operations and be the limelight of construction company.
My name is Sean, and I'm here to talk about sustainability scorecards. The strategy outline for the sustainability scorecard in the development division involves moving identification and acquisition objectives towards sustainability. The strategy outline for the sustainability scorecard in construction divisions aim at increasing the business capability towards use of sustainable construction practices. Some key highlights identified from the development division sustainability scorecard are in the area of innovation. The goal of achievements from research on sustainable raw materials can be attained by increasing contribution to sustainable raw material research by 5% in the following year. The rationale is that more capital investment in research and development increases resources available for research and increases the likelihood of new advancements. In the area of non-market, the goal of reducing regulatory barriers for sustainable development can be attained by getting a 5% deduction in taxes for sustainable raw materials by involving in meetings and contracts with governments. The rationale is that reducing the tax burden for sustainable developments incentivizes growth in the industry. Some key highlights identified from the construction division scorecard are: one, internally, the goal of increasing investment in sustainable alternatives for construction can be achieved by increasing use of solar energy and recycled water by 15% in ongoing and future construction projects, with the rationale that more use of solar energy and recycled water leads to growth in these sustainable industries. In the area of finance, the goal of maintaining a proportion of funds towards sustainable materials can be achieved by keeping aside 7.5% of capital for purchase of sustainable materials. The rationale is that allocation of funding for sustainable practices will incentivize expenditure on sustainable materials. These goals can be realistically achieved with focus and investment in the identified measures and are backed by rationales which would aid eco-builders in understanding how these measures could impact their current business model.
Hi, this is Johnny speaking. I'll be talking about the eco strategy and SDG goals for the eco development division. The goal we select is goal 9: build resilient infrastructure, promote inclusive and sustainable industrialization, and foster innovation. Furthermore, the target that fits our report is 9.4. By 2030, upgrade infrastructure and retrofit industries to make them sustainable with increased resources use efficiency and greater adoption of clean and environmental sound technologies and industrial processes. with all countries taking action in accordance with their respective capabilities. Our goal matches the SDG goals and targets perfectly. First, we focus on the use of sustainable materials and sustainable ways of construction. Second, further development and sustainable building practices and the sustainable forest implication also become very important for increased resource use efficiency. And next, for the eco construction division, we believe that Goal 12, ensuring sustainable consumption and production pattern, and Target 12, by 2030, substantial reduce waste generation through prevention, reduction, recycling, and reuse are on the right track. The key part of our strategy is to increase the proportion of using sustainable materials in construction. It can help to achieve the target 12.5 in many ways, such as reduction in carbon emissions, lesser pollutions, and prevent of the second or further damage by using non-recycled materials. Therefore, to achieve 12.5, it's critical that all businesses engage with more sustainable development practices. Thank you.
The current linear approach to business models challenges the principles that are central to circular economy. ECO's business model is predicated on this linear approach. Linear thinking is a way to describe the current life cycle of products in the global economy. This model is built on cheap, easily available resources and fossil energy, and follows the stages of take, where resources are taken from nature; make, where the resources are then used to make products; use, where the product is sold and performs a function; and dispose, where once the product can no longer perform the function for which it was designed, it and the resources that are used to make it are disposed of. This approach obviously does not align with the biological cycles that govern life on Earth. In contrast to linear thinking, circular economy promotes a way of running the economy that is aligned with the cyclical processes that exist in the natural world around us. Some key principles of circular economy include using renewable sources of energy and closing the loop, which means designing products that can be recycled and reused over long periods of time. The current linear approach challenges these principles because it often can be profitable for businesses to follow a linear approach to its products. In the case of ECO, its business has, until this point, been based upon the use of cheap, plentiful steel and concrete, but this is obviously not a sustainable approach long term. ECO can overcome this challenge by aligning profitable approaches to business with the sustainable balanced scorecard strategies that we've recommended. Our first recommendation is that ECO reduce its reliance on undeveloped land and instead focus on value-adding products on sites that require less upfront development and investment. Secondly, we recommend that ECO increase the capability of the business to use sustainable practices in construction. We believe that if ECO can meet these two goals, then its business model will become significantly more sustainable. These two goals will also be achievable for ECO in that it won't be sacrificing large amounts of profit in its search for sustainability.
Eco risks and opportunities through the indigenous stewardship are segmented into three main parts. The first being the use of the construction materials and the impacts area are providing structure for education, healthcare, transportation, energy, and industry. The risks include the high cost of the eco-friendly construction materials and the fact that they are not reliable. So they need to be further development, which means we need to spend more time and money to research new eco-friendly materials. The opportunity are that the new building materials with low emission and low cost, as well as it can help some new design of buildings be real and make the buildings more comfortable. Well, for the climate change aspect, the main area is the design and manufacture of construction materials, as well as the damage to property and asset, in which the risks are that the extreme weather condition cause the natural disaster, resulting in construction damage and project disruption. It also leads to shorter lifespan of indigenous old property and increase the risk of breakdown, poor health, and the significant loss of value. The opportunities from the climate change is it can push the innovation and development in the composition and industry and manufacture of building materials for eco-builders, such as stronger, lighter, and more durable materials. It can also foster the development of the green technology in construction industry. The impacts area in the community is that the community certification, which the risk is that that may fail to meet the sustainability target and has an impact on the goodwill and brand image of eco-builders, then leading to overall loss in business. The opportunities of the community are that achieving the SDG goals and consulting with the community on decision that will benefit both the eco-builders and the community to meet their expectation and goals.
Two lecture moments has been particularly insightful for our team. One is the lecture 5. The lecture discusses universalism and the consideration for the needs and the well-being of others from an internal perspective. In the case of eco-materials, the concept of engaging in projects with a focus on community well-being rather than purely profit, and the level of consideration for the needs of the community is necessary. And the lecture 11. This lecture discusses the concept of business taking on a stewardship method as opposed to shareholder primacy method. Yeah, these ideas were insightful for the team in addressing how eco can incorporate the concept of indigenous stewardship into its business model by following the suggestions set out above. And we have through 4 perspectives to persuade our shareholders. One is the customer awareness. Yeah, customer will realize us as a green constructor. Company will attract more and more people who are concerned about the environment and the earth to increase our customers, which will boost our revenue forecast. And the innovation part, we intend to conduct more in-depth research and sustainable raw materials and construction designs, providing us with a first mover advantage in the industry. And cooperate with government. Government will provide grants like tax deduction will cut our expenses and provide better and more realistic sustainability solutions like tree planting something and the eco materials. Adopting these sustainable options may incur a little bit of initial cost, but will be cost effective in the long term. And for our conclusion, we think and we believe it is the time for eco-builders to choose eco-construction material, and it is the best time to do so. Why? From the cost management perspective, the cost of traditional construction materials will be constantly rising for a long time due to COVID-19 and Russian-Ukraine war. And if the eco-builders want to be market leader, it is necessary for eco-builders to break into the market construction materials market now at the first stage. And eco-builders could also be more attractive. Eco-construction materials is a golden selling point for the eco-builders companies to attract more green investment, like green bonds, the investor who care about the environment and satisfy its own shareholders. And we believe in the future the government will support us to make further achievements. The most important point is to save our earth. The eco-construction materials are the final solution. More and more people who like to choose the eco-construction materials to build the buildings. Eco-builders shall take the responsibility to make our world being better and better.